You all remember Breonna Taylor, right? She was an EMT, and the cops murdered her in her sleep. 8 times they shot her. She died in a pool of her own blood. This happened in March. A bunch of cops had a no-knock warrant, and they were looking for someone hoping to find drugs in their house. They knocked on the wrong door. They say they knocked. And they just burst into the apartment where she was sleeping. And this was her boyfriend's place, right? So her boyfriend thought that someone was trying to break in. He fires back because he's legally allowed to. He's a legal owner of a firearm, okay? And you have stand your ground laws. So he fires back. They kill his girlfriend. They book him, take him down to the station, and charge him with attempted murder of a police officer. Even though the cops barged into his house. Remember, they had a no-knock warrant, whatever that is. They claimed they knocked, which still is irrelevant. They just barged into his house, and they weren't even in uniform. And so they had a shootout, essentially, murdering his girlfriend and then charging him with attempted murder when they broke into his house, the wrong house. I mean, every single time I think about this situation, I get really, really angry. Can you imagine the crap that her boyfriend has gone through? I mean, can you imagine someone barging into your house, murdering your girlfriend in front of you, and then you get charged with murder? I mean, this is... What the fuck is happening in America? Seriously. So, not to mention, they robbed this poor young woman of her life. If I recall correctly, she was only 26. She's like younger than me, man. I mean, this is insane. And to this day, we are now in July. To this day, these pigs that murdered her, that executed her in her sleep, have not been charged. Nothing. They're still walking around free. And so people are rightfully furious about this. They're absolutely livid. You saw what happened to George Floyd, okay? You saw what happened to Rayshard Brooks. And when people went out and protested all across the nation, it worked. It had an effect, this direct action, because the 4 cops who killed George Floyd got arrested, right? And the police department in Minneapolis just abolished, right? And the two cops who killed Rayshard Brooks also got arrested. And that was in Atlanta, Georgia, right? So direct action, protesting, outcry had an effect. Me personally, you know, if you keep telling me, you keep trying to bomb my country and bomb other countries and brainwash us that America is the leader of democracy and liberty for all and justice and freedom and blah, 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 all this propaganda, it shouldn't have to take all 50 states protesting and coming out in droves for the law to be applied, right? In the greatest nation on earth. It shouldn't have to come to that. These incidents wouldn't even have happened in the first place. Nonetheless, direct action has an effect. And so people, seeing what happened, demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, after inaction, months and months and months of inaction. What did they do? They went and protested. 87 people went and protested, okay, at the Attorney General's house. So take a look at this. I'm going to read you the headline, okay? You see that? 87 people charged with felonies after Breonna Taylor protest at Attorney General's house. So let me just show you the picture quickly down here, right? See that? So let me zoom in for you. You can read that more easily. 87 people were arrested and charged with a felony after a Tuesday protest on the lawn of Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. The Louisville Metro Police Department said in a statement. The protesters were demanding that charges be filed against the officers responsible for the March shooting death of Breonna Taylor. Once again, do you see how the media try to tone it down? Shooting death of Breonna Taylor. It wasn't a shooting death. It's an execution. It was... execution is putting it mildly. It's a bloodbath. Literally a bloodbath. She died in a pool of her blood. I'm sorry for the graphic details, but this needs to be said. Look how they tone down the language to try and protect the police. Every single time, every single mainstream media article you read about George Floyd or Rayshard Brooks or Ahmaud Arbery or Breonna Taylor, they always tone down the language. The killing. It's not a killing. It's a lynching. It's a murder. Call it for what it is. Do your fucking job. This is not a time to be objective. There is no objectivity in this matter. It's very clear cut what it is. So the protesters marched from the school to Cameron's home, with many of the demonstrators sitting and standing on Cameron's lawn. Oh my goodness, the travesty. They sat on his lawn. Goodness gracious. The protesters, who were chanting slogans demanding justice for Taylor, were asked to leave by the police, but many chose to stay. Those who did were arrested without incident, according to WLKY TV. So, Louisville Metro Police Department said in their statement that in total 87 people were arrested due to their refusal to leave the property and their attempts to influence the decision of the Attorney General with their actions. Each person was charged with intimidating a participant in a legal process, Class D felony, disorderly conduct, second degree, that's a Class B misdemeanor, and criminal trespass, third degree, which is a violation. Okay, so I'm going to lose it. Let me get this straight. The police who barged into the wrong house in plain clothes and killed this woman, who killed a 26-year-old EMT, Breonna Taylor, in her sleep, are still walking around free after murdering, executing her. And the only people charged with a crime, with a felony, are the civilians protesting her death, protesting this inaction by the Justice Department, by the judiciary. What is this? What is this? They've taken the world and flipped it upside down. You can be a cop and murder someone in their sleep and walk free. But if you open your mouth, felony charge. How dare you? How dare you protest? You sat on the Attorney General's lawn. Go to jail. Oh, so it's not okay to sit on the Attorney General's lawn, but it's okay to barge into someone's house and murder people in their sleep? That's okay. Oh, now I know why. Because they're black and you're the cops. And you can get away with murder. Right. You see, that's the real America. They tell you, oh, the First Amendment, free speech, you got the right to protest. Where is it? Apparently, when you really need that First Amendment, when you really need it, it doesn't exist. I got news for you. That's not a right. If you don't have it unconditionally, always, at all times, it's not a right. This is fucking unbelievable. Cameron, so this is the Attorney General, said his office will continue with a thorough and fair investigation into Taylor's death. What do you mean a thorough and fair investigation? How many months exactly do you need to be thorough enough? What information are you missing here? What information are you missing here? You got the wrong address. You barged in unannounced. You were in plain clothes. You looked like robbers. You wasted the guy's girlfriend. You killed Breonna Taylor in her sleep. 8 bullets. What the fuck are you? What is this, an assassination? You going after Osama bin Laden? 8 bullets? These are trigger-happy cowboys. No. This ain't no thorough or fair investigation. The only 2 things that came of this, okay? The Louisville Metro Council opted Tuesday night to launch an investigation into Mayor Greg Fisher, his administration, and the city's police department. All 11 members of the Government Oversight Committee voted to approve a probe of several issues related to Taylor's death, the Louisville Police Department's handling of ongoing protests, and other matters. Dude, listen to me, man. Listen to me. I want to explain something to you. Do you see how the judiciary are completely 100% complicit with this corruption, with this oppression, with this racism? It's one thing to let loose these murderous thugs with a gun and a badge onto the civilian population, onto African Americans. But it's another thing on top of it to let them get away with it, right? When you have Amy Klobuchar serving as district attorney, receiving dozens of complaints about Derek Chauvin and refusing to prosecute him, and then we wind up with this very same person murdering George Floyd. That's her fault. That's her inaction resulting in another death. When the city council wait months to launch a probe, this is insufficient. This is a platitude. This is nonsense. If they really wanted to do something, they would abolish the police. They would defund it, which is what people are asking for. And matter of fact, these protesters that were arrested and charged with felonies were not even asking for that. They're just asking for justice. Nope. They don't want to give it. And you see that it goes all the way up. All the way up. Not just district attorneys, but it goes all the way up to the chief of police, to the mayor, to the governor, to the attorney general. They are all complicit. All of them. Just as guilty as the cops pulling the triggers or choking people out. They are enabling the system. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Even if you defund the police, you will still have these scumbags in power. That's a big cause for concern. And the other thing that happened, look at this. So in the wake of Taylor's death, once again, they say death. No, it wasn't death. It was a murder. It was an execution. Louisville passed a ban on no-knock warrants, which allow police to enter a home without first announcing their presence. The bill was named after Taylor. Dude, this is a platitude. This is a platitude. They named the bill after her. No. We don't want bills named after victims of police brutality and executions. We want the cops to go to jail, and we want you to defund the police. Okay? How about that? How about you make a bill defunding the cops and name it after Breonna Taylor if you're so adamant on naming something after her? Sure. But that's not the main point. Do you understand? That's not the main point. This is another platitude that they do to try to silence you, to placate the people protesting. Well, no, it's not going to work. People are not stupid. This is unacceptable. This is completely unacceptable. Also, what is this concept of no-knock warrants? Can someone explain that to me? How is that even legal in the first place? In the Fourth Amendment, which is to protect citizens from illegal search and seizure, you're not allowed to go into someone's car, to go into someone's house without a warrant. Never mind the wrong house. The wrong house. So this whole concept of no-knock warrant is void and null. It makes no sense. It's in direct contradiction of what you have written in the Constitution. Again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I think I understood it pretty well. It's very clear. Once again, even if they got the right house, which they didn't, what was the point? Where is the legality of murdering Breonna Taylor? She didn't fire a gun at you. She was asleep. I can't break this down simply enough. It just, and then you're still gonna have these vermin, right-wingers saying like, oh, bro, you just gotta cooperate with the police, then you'll leave you alone. Cooperate with the, what is she supposed to do? Sleepwalk to the door and offer them coffee? Oh, you people are so disgusting. Seriously, this is really something else, man. I mean, this case is, every time you hear of some new, I don't even know what to call it, man. Evil is an understatement. Every time you hear of some new bullshit by the police, each one is worse than the last. Each one is worse than the last. And nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever gets done. Absolute immunity, complete impunity, just killing people like they're nothing. This is the point to which they dehumanize African Americans. And so, I don't know what to say. It's really brazen. It's very bold of them to see what's going on in the country right now. They see these protests. They're not stupid. All right. They see the protests. They know that people have had it up to here. And still they won't prosecute the police. Still they won't arrest them. Still they won't do anything. And on top of it, the only people who get charged are the ones protesting. I'm going to just wrap up by saying this. This is what I posted on Twitter. The police who murdered Breonna Taylor in her sleep are still walking free. Yet, the 87 individuals who protested her death have been charged with felonies. This must be the land of the free we keep hearing so much about. Wow. You remember how much they would talk about all these brutal Arab dictators? Oh, they're killing their own population. Oh, they're killing peaceful protesters. Oh, they're killing civilians. We got to go bomb them. We have to invade them. We have to deliver democracy. We have to step in. What is this? What is all this? The hypocrisy is unbelievable.